Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to do my impressions of Doom, the Doom reboot that released earlier this year in May. I just had the opportunity recently to finally sit down and play the game. It was decided by myself to finally sit down and play the game on my backlog, so I've been waiting for that ever since. But it was nice because I got to pay like $26 for the game, and I went into it sort of with an open mind. The only Doom I played previously was Doom 3. The BFG edition on PC, and I really actually enjoyed that game. I know that game is kind of not as viewed as highly by the official Doom fans. People thought it was like the worst in the series, to be quite honest. But to be honest, as my entry point into the series, I actually pretty much appreciated Doom 3 and really liked the game. I thought it was a pretty good, really fun FPS with some cool horror elements and a pretty awesome world and place to explore, especially the station and stuff. It was pretty cool. So the Doom reboot is meant to basically bring the series back to the modern age, and I have to say that I was extremely impressed with almost everything that the game has been giving me. Now, I'm almost near the end, to be honest. I just have a few more levels. I'm probably going to be trying to beat this game on Wednesday, to be completely honest. But I have to say, straight away, that this game is incredibly exhausting to play, and I mean that in the best possible way that I can. When I play a level of this game, and I mean just a complete level, and just to keep that in mind, it's about maybe an hour and a half at most per level, right? So around an hour long per level. I feel like I need to take a 15-minute, 20-minute break to go grab some water and just to calm myself down every single time I complete a level of this game. It does not let up whatsoever. The game has a tendency to throw everything at you at once, and what's so visceral, what's so satisfying about this is that the game's combat is oh so ruthless, and the controls are so refined, pinpoint, and accurate that you almost get into a rhythm with this game. You start to realize to move around your environment and the way your character feels and controls. You start to get used to that, and you adapt to the playstyle of the game, which is pretty much moving all the time and shooting everything in your pathway. Which just on itself, it kind of seems like that's a little bit boring. Doom is a straight up FPS. There is no really variety involved. There's not really a lot of puzzles, although there are brief puzzles here and there. But most of what you're doing, 90% of Doom, is straight up shooting all these people and all these demons, more specifically, just coming to tear you apart. And there's a lot of questions that can be a result of me saying that. A lot of people would ask if it's repetitive. And to be honest, not really. I haven't found myself get really repetitive by the game. And I was really surprised because I've had most people that I know really enjoyed the game. But there's also a handful of people that I know who thought it was just a boring FPS to play. And so I went into it with these two mindsets involved. Most people saying it was good, and then a few people saying it was actually really boring. But I have to say that I'm having the time of my life, honestly. This is one of the better FPSs that I've played in quite some time. And this reminded me way back of Wolfenstein: A New Order that was released in 2014, which was, in my opinion, one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played in my entire life. Like as an FPS, straight FPS game, I would even say Wolfenstein: A New Order was in my top 3 favorites. It was incredible. The gameplay, the way the guns felt, how you could approach each mission how you wanted to, and the upgrades and stuff that you had available. I mean, Bethesda has been really on point about really nailing down first-person shooters as a genre, and Doom is just the next iteration in that step. They've done a fantastic job here. The guns all feel just incredible, and nothing ever feels underpowered. Even your small little pistol feels, especially when you upgrade it, can pack quite a punch at times, and even though it's a last resort weapon, it's still pretty fun to use and go around. You have upgrades that you can use to upgrade yourself, your abilities, and also your weapons individually, and each weapon has a mod that you can toggle between 2 mods per weapon. So each weapon has a mod that you can choose, and you can then further upgrade that mod. And each mod is actually useful in certain situations and also not useful in other situations. So you have to sort of weigh in and balance which mod would be perfect for this scenario. And like I said, you get into a rhythm with this game and it starts to really make sense and you start to enjoy yourself playing it. I have to say that I've been enjoying almost every second of Doom. I never went into this game since I've been playing that. I've never been going into it thinking to myself, just gotta pass this level, man. Gotta pass this level. This is so... It's gonna take a while. I don't really feel like playing this. Every single time I jump into the game, it's kind of funny because I never have the straight up desire to like want to go back in and play the game. But every single time that I do, I have a really, really fun time. It kind of reminds me of Assassin's Creed Syndicate in that way, because I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate earlier this year, and that was a game that I really enjoyed, but I didn't really feel like compelled to keep going back to as my playthrough. Like, it wasn't like a thing where I felt like, oh, I need to get back into it, or I want to play the game, I'm missing playing it. But every single time that I did go back and play it, I was having just a hell of a fun time. And the same thing is here with Doom. Now, I'm playing this on P with maxed out settings, and I have to say this game is gorgeous. This is one of the best looking games I've seen this generation. I mean, flames and all these effects and particles, like, literally have real-time reflections off of the metal and surface of your guns. The way the environments are detailed, the gore, the oh-so-satisfying brutal melee finishers, which are so refined, and I have to say, so well animated, that even when you're in the middle of these huge fights, the game seamlessly goes from gunplay to melee combat in almost a very jarring transition. And again, like, it's so smooth and so clear, and it's so satisfying that it just feels like an extension. It feels like you're almost watching like a pre-rendered video of playing a game instead of playing the game. You know, that's what it kind of feels like. I mean, even when you kick a demon down on his back, you can actually see the muscles of its back just ripple from the effect of your boot. And it's like little effects like that really help make the game look beautiful. Not to mention, I have to say this is the most optimized, one of the most optimized PC games I've ever played in my entire life. No game has looked this good and ran this well since like the Battlefield days. You know, like all of DICE's games, like Star Wars Battlefront was pretty much the last one that just looked really good, but also ran extremely well. And that's just a sign of an optimized game here. Obviously, I have it running on the Vulkan API, so I'm getting that extra boost in performance here, but I'm hitting like 90 to 100 frames per second. It's usually around the 90s frames per second with a GTX 1080 at 3440 by 1440. And the game beautifully supports ultra-wide almost perfectly, and the game's frame rate is so smooth, and it's a sight to behold. The graphics are on another level entirely. In addition, the sound quality, top notch. The soundtrack is perfect. I'm not into this type of style of music to listen to on my own, but it fits the style of the game so perfectly, and it really adds this intense moment. Like, I'm playing the game here, and I almost like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if I'm forgetting to breathe or whatnot, because I start getting like a little bit stressed when playing it, just because of the high volume of enemies on screen and things happening and all the shrapnels and guns, and just how fast the movement is in this game. It's on a different level entirely. Again, this is why I feel like I have to take a break every hour, every time I complete a level, just because it's so intense. And I'm also actually enjoying the story. The story, for what it is a pretty, decent story. It sets it up. It gives you a purpose for where you are. And, for a game that really is just focusing straight up on its gunplay, it's a decent of enough narrative to at least get you to care about what you're doing in the first place. And so I actually really appreciate that. And there's some decent character development here and there. Obviously, it's nothing groundbreaking. And I think that was the main complaint with Doom 3 that a lot of people had, is that it puts story before gameplay. And I feel like they hit a really good balance with this one. They really did. So I'm very much enjoying this game. In fact, I'm loving this game. It's one of the best games I played this year, one of the best PC games I played in my entire life, and one of the best FPSs that I have played in my lifetime as well. It's just an all-around fantastic game. I got it for $26. It's almost criminal. I almost feel like I should have bought this game on release. So if you're actually wondering about Doom, my opinion, it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's a great return to a classic series. It's a reboot done right, which is more than I can say for some. Here's Edge. But it's really just still a great game on its own, and I highly recommend you play it. I really do. So thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you think of the game if you have played it, and if not, definitely pick it up. Do not let this one pass you up this year. I promise you will have a good time if you just love hardcore gunplay. And also, world building and beautiful graphics and all of that. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
Demonic presence eliminated. Lockdown disengaged.